it's also hard when you're wearing a mask because you don't really get to see what everybody looks like. But so that's the idea. So we're going to try to do that as much as we can. So so we'll just go around the room. I will start. My name is Steve Van Tassel. I'm the PTA president. We live over in, we technically live in Woodstone, but we're kind of in the Stony-Brook neighborhood. It's weird. And I have one son. His name is Shane, and he is in second grade Spanish immersion with Senora Sanchez and Ms. Smith. And he really likes going to school, so he really enjoys himself here. Usually we walk up the back steps and stuff. So I'll go to Anna next because she's closest to me.
Hi, Anna Bennett. I'm the secretary of PTA this year, and I have 3 girls here at Groveton, 6th grader, 5th grader, and 3rd grader. Been here 7 years. Wow. Anything else?
Hi, I'm Chris Latham. I'm one of the assistant principals at Groveton. I'm going to be doing some updates and also some talk about testing. That was the topic I was with that. So my part was to the end of the meeting.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Latham. Appreciate it.
George Newberry, I'm the treasurer. I have 2 kids in 3rd grade and 1st grade.
Northside Financial Arts. I have twins. They're in the 2nd grade immersion program with Ms. Smith and Ms. Sanchez. This is my 3rd year in Groveton. Yeah, kids are busy and keeping me busy, and I work in government. So.
Thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Murray. I have 1 kid, Ian Murray, who's in 2nd grade in math.
I'm Sheila Hansen, and I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Groveton.
Thank you for coming, Ms. Hanson.
You're welcome.
I'm Shannon Payne. I have a year in 6th grade with me and Kelly and Mr. Crane, and then Hunter, who's in 4th grade. It's not easy. I think about that.
I'm Kyle Curry. I've got 3 kids in 3rd grade.
I'm Kevin. I have a 2nd grader, and this is our 1st year here in Groveton.
My name is Andy. I'm third grader, boy. Here at Groveton, teachers Pamela Johnson.
Hi, Diane Weaver. I'm a 6th grader in Spanish immersion, and it's her 7th year.
Hi, I'm Christina, and I have a kindergarten and a 1st grader.
Thanks for coming.
I'm Jenny. My son is in 4th grade with Locke, and my daughter is in 1st grade with Boo. And it's our 1st year at Groveton.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I have a 3rd grader in Ortiz and a 5th grader in Crane.
Hello everybody, I'm Dina, and I have a 3rd grader with Ms. Nonverbal in Ortiz.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Vargas. I am the vice president of the PTA this year. I have a 2nd grade in the community program too, and I already have a graduated from that program 2 years ago. Just turning 8 right now. The goal is I'm gonna be here to help our people in Spanish also because we have a big community. So let me try to introduce them.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Hagan la presentación, su nombre y
Hola, mi nombre es Joana y mi niño es Axel Flores de Kids Garden. Es el primer niño. Joana.
Her name is Joanna, and she is the 1st year in Groveton. She has a kindergarten boy. His name is Axel.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, gracias.
Me llamo María Estela Rivera de Pineda. Tengo 42 años. Mi hijo José Andrés Pineda Rivera de kindergarten. Primer año.
Okay. So she is the first year too, and then he has a kindergarten, so he's ready to grow up with them there. And it's the first year that grew up here too, with that, her name is Maria. Yeah, she's Maria and John.
Welcome to both of you.
Hello, I'm Jessica Johnson. My daughter Adeline is in kindergarten.
Thank you for coming, Jessica. Thanks everybody for coming, we appreciate it. So do you want me to, how do you want to do this? You want me to kind of go a little bit and then you can translate for them and then we'll kind of keep going?
Maybe I just gonna do a little resume for them while I'm close by here, and I'm already recording over there.
Okay, that's fine. However we need to work this. Thank you for doing it, Jasmine. Jasmine does, anything that comes from, that supposedly comes from me in Spanish, that's not me, that's Jasmine. So, I try to say thank you, sometimes I forget, but yeah, just so everybody knows, I don't know it, it's her. I just send it to her and it comes back and I just post it there, so. She could be making fun of me in the middle of it, I don't know.
No, it's not true.
Somebody could let me know if that happens. So the first thing we're going to do, thank you everybody for introducing yourself. This is very nice. Hopefully we all get to meet each other at some other events in the future. Is we have as I said on Facebook, I don't know if people saw it, but we have a very exciting announcement, important and exciting. And so I'm going to let Shannon Payne here, if you want to stand up and make the announcement, that would be great.
So, the important announcement. First off, I want to thank Sherry Snyder. She is the one that kind of revived this whole topic and what we've been working towards. It's been a 10-year process. There was a meeting today with Supervisor Lusk, Principal Swagger, Mr. Latham, correct me if I'm wrong if you were in that meeting. But it's been a team effort. All of our hard work has paid off, and Groveton will be getting a crossing guard. There is some stuff behind it, but there'll be a crossing guard at Harrison and Groveton Street.
And thank you to Shannon, because without her doing a lot of hard work, I think the understanding was a lot of it helped with, the help was that a lot of it was that they didn't really think there was a lot of people across the street, and by Shannon and Phyllis, who's not here, and I'm not sure who else stood with you there, I know Phyllis. Sherry, thank you. They stood there and they counted the number of kids and they counted the number of parents, and we reported that data to them, and that helped a lot. So thank you very much to Shannon. Shannon left herself up, but thank you very much. So that's very exciting. We're very happy about that. We didn't really have time to prepare for it because I think Shannon texted me about 2:40 this afternoon to tell me about it. So.
After I cried, okay, they were having
So.
And after what you post on Facebook, I have to call her and say, please give me something, I have nerves.
It was a very surreal moment actually getting a personal phone call from Supervisor Lusk to inform that we were actually getting that. So, community and teamwork made it happen.
Thank you, and your leadership made it happen as well, so thank you very much, Shannon. So good. So now we get to do boring things. Sorry, bad transition, but we approved the September meeting minutes, so I will turn that over to Anna.
Exactly. Except I'm gonna have to direct you to the website. So pull it up on your smartphone, and you can see the meeting minutes from that I took in September, because I don't have a way to present them to you right now. Nor do I have any hard copies to pass out. So, I will go over basically what I said. We did the announcements and introductions, just like we did just now. We approved the June meeting minutes in that meeting. We reported on the treasurer's report. The current balance at that time was a little over 27,000. We did a little bit of information about the EMT guards that we've gotten over the COVID
I think that covers it. Does anybody have, thank you. Ann.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Or quick, does anybody have any questions? Okay, we're gonna
Oh,
vote.
can I ask, when are you getting that sign out front?
We're gonna update on that today, that's one of our agenda items.
Yes, we have a very good update for that, so, but thank you for asking. So does anybody have any questions about the meeting minutes? Okay, now we just need to vote to approve them. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. They are passed, thank you, Anna. And just so everybody knows, meeting minutes, they go on the website, so if you couldn't attend another meeting, you can always check them out there. And also Jasmine is recording over there, and so, that video will go on our YouTube page as well, so in case you can't attend a meeting in the future, you can always watch it a couple of days later, so thank you. Next, we're gonna have George Newberry. George is gonna present, the budget for the PTA budget and give us a breakdown of what happened this past month.
Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, I'm sorry.
There were some handouts on the table there, you can, if anybody want their own little copy. I'll just hand out one for each table. It's pretty straightforward, it just goes down category by category, kind of how much we spent in the last. So sometimes you do it by month, where it kind of doesn't make sense now because it's the end of September, because September's already passed. So I'm doing it by kind of from what we reported last meeting, which was at the end of September, to yesterday. You guys, as a group, if we want to just do it cutting it the month, we can, but this seems to be just a little easier. Not a lot of significant transactions. We did get more dues in. If you haven't paid your dues, you can pay them online through PayPal, or you can pay me. The $5 of that, $4 goes to other higher level organizations, Fairfax County, the state, and national dues, and then $1 we keep. If you do use PayPal, then if you already have a PayPal account, you can use family and friends, and that avoids us the PayPal fee of 59 cents for the PayPal transaction. So, yeah.
Those dues are one time?
Annually, yeah, so
Oh, annual,
yeah,
not
once a year.
monthly.
Yeah, so you're paid, you're good. So
So
restaurant, for the period, that's $473.57, that's what we made from Toppers from that first fundraiser back to school night. A little bit of dues processing fees that is for paying the national and state dues and Fairfax County dues directly to the county, or into the state net. If we pay it digitally, it saves us a lot of hassle, but there's a little processing fee with it, right? So we account for those. And then we just had the expenses for the back to school spirit that was reimbursing Shannon that sign out front. We did pay, not the digital sign, that was the welcome back to school sign at the beginning of the year. We did pay the county for the school sign. That $16,000 check went out the door and they deposited it. So we're making progress there and we expect more updates soon. And then the staff appreciation was the expense for the pizza for the back to school night. So that was the total. It wasn't a lot of expenses or income this reporting period. There is good news.
Yes, more good news.
Really good news. If you remember last time, we said we didn't know how much we were going to get from Safeway for our fundraiser. Safeway, that was where we bought at Safeway down in Bellevue, and people rounded up or added a little bit to their transaction. We got a donation. Well, you can see $5,912.85. That's a little more than the budgeted amount of $500. So we can adjust the budget then and figure out where to reallocate that money. We also, I don't know how much we made from the first El Paso fundraiser, so we'll probably get a little bit from that. And also the most recent Toppers fundraiser, Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, so I haven't got any numbers for that yet. So all the math comes out to $10,905, kind of we have cash on hand spendable. So, are there any questions on the report? Okay.
The report is fine, but how, the Safeway, what was the duration of that again?
It was the month of August.
Yes.
Month of August.
The whole day. So the month of August, if you went to Safeway and they're at the pin pad when you were paying, it said you want to donate money to support our schools, and we got almost $6,000 from
that's something that can be done like annually, or?
Fingers crossed,
Okay.
hopefully. Hopefully.
You would think if other elementary schools got wind of this thing.
Yeah.
Because
I
there's
mean,
only so many Safeways around.
Right.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, there was a parent, who I still don't even know who the parent is, who worked at the store and recommended us, and then they asked me if we wanted to be part of it, and we were, so. Yeah, so, and just, they sent me a note, and they said the whole program raised about $300,000 for like 110 schools. So, that's a little under $3,000 a school, so we probably had twice as much as the average school, which I think is incredible, so, very appreciative. We're gonna put something out as well about that, and, I think they're going to do the big novelty check signing at a certain point and all that stuff, so, but I don't really have too many details on that. We just found out about that, within the last couple of days, but hopefully it's in the annual thing, but
That'd be awesome.
that would be awesome, yes, but we're just grateful that if it's a one-time thing, we're just grateful for that, so. Does anybody have any other questions for George?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. I'm gonna try to be very brief. The main things we've been doing, Shannon just talked about the school crossing guard. Mr. Latham can kind of basically take this over. I know people have questions about the sign, so if you wanna, Mr. Latham got an update from Mr. Swagger about the sign today, so.
Yeah, so Mr. Schwager was able to communicate with, the project manager for that today. He has submitted the, contracts and has to wait for those estimates to come back, so that's in process. He said those should be back sometime next week, so we'll have an idea of where we can go from there. He also, said that once all the information is submitted for the actual sign, it takes 10 to 12 weeks for them to fabricate it, for them to actually make the sign that belongs to us. So he said probably sometime mid-December, that should be finished. And then from there, we'll have a plan of when the work is actually going to be completed. My guess is not in the middle of winter. So we're probably looking at sometime in the spring, but in December, when that's done, we should have a better idea. So the good thing is that that's moving along, and now we're getting some more regular updates, which was also a problem for a while. So.
Great, thank you, Mr. Latham, appreciate it. Does anybody have any questions? I know, I had talked to Mr. Swagger the other day, and, that was kind of his update, was that he was gonna get an update from the project manager, so. Does anybody have any questions about that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, is the sign approved by the county already, or does it have to go through approval?
So it's already approved, by the county. It right now just has to go through, some of the contracts are also for the work, for the installation, so that is, a competitive process. So we'll have to bid out and come back and, someone to do the actual installation as well. So there's the two big costs for the sign, are the sign itself. It actually costs more to have it installed and to have the work done than the sign itself will end up costing. So those are the two big costs associated.
But thank you for the questions. The other major things.
One more question.
Oh, sure, go, sorry.
It's a digital sign, right, to replace the main sign that's, kind of on the road where, with the letters that we manually put up. Right, so it's gonna be a digital sign that they can control from virtually, I think it's anywhere. Yeah, right, from like that and computer space.
Yeah, we'll be able to program, we'll be able to put updates up there, events up there. It's much easier and faster to change. It's much easier to read as you're sort of driving by than the sign that we have now.
Different languages.
Different languages, which is very good for our community, so.
Will it be bigger? Like a little bit bigger? Like, to make it reading big enough?
5 lines, right?
Yeah, I think it's 5 lines. I do think it's big. I think what you're talking about, like the text.
Yeah.
Is larger than the letters that are up
I
there.
mean, it's not gonna be raised, right? It's not like Hayfield.
It's not gonna be that high.
It'll still be at the same kind of, just above ground level.
Thank you, Mr. Latham. Okay, it's the other things we've been, kind of the other major thing that we've sort of been working on, obviously, is the outdoor lunch that folks can see what's been done there. George has been doing a lot on that, along with his wife Tabitha, who's not here because she's home with their kids. But do we have any update? I know we still need volunteers, so if people have any time that they can donate, you know, it just, even an hour a month, one shift is great. Just as many people as can help out would be great. Do we have any other updates?
Sure, the only, not really an update, it was a call for additional volunteers. The other is just an acknowledgement that it's difficult to have, the Groveton staff down there. That's been a struggle in the last week or week and a half. And the reason for that is that as we're not able to fill all of the sub positions in classrooms, the staff that is typically on duty is getting pulled to be in classrooms, because there is a sub shortage. So, Mr. Swager put a note here that he was substituting for a teacher earlier this week. So if you know anybody who is qualified, who would like to be a substitute, his little joke here is that obviously if he's doing it, then anybody can do it. So if you know anybody, definitely have them reach out. I think he probably did great in that conference. So, but that is something we're struggling with right now. Is anytime teachers are out and there is a shortage of substitutes, we're having to utilize additional staff in the building to supervise the classrooms and the outdoor ones. So that's what we're doing.
I can get rid of that.
Sure. George knows more than anybody else.
Quick back summarize on the outdoor lunch, right? Traditionally, all the kids eat inside. And if they're all eating inside with all their masks down, it's probably more likely to spread COVID, right? So we got 6 8-person picnic tables, well, 6 8-foot picnic tables, 3 6-foot picnic tables outside. We have tents and umbrellas. I ordered more umbrellas that they should be here, 4 more should be here tomorrow. So we're trying, and that's all for the shit, you know, so we can have shade because it gets kind of baking out there on the blacktop. So we can have kids outside, but we need parent volunteers to help watch those kids because it's up to 72 or so, I think, when you do the math. And that's a lot of kids to watch, right? The kindergartners are all nice and they're like all sitting proper. The 6th graders are, you know, a little more boisterous, we'll say. So, personalities vary, ranges vary, but we need parent volunteers to be out there because right now we've had a great set of volunteers, but we just need a little, they're starting to get burned out, and we need to get more parents out there to help watch the kids. And personally, I think it's important to have the kids outside, not just COVID aside. It's refreshing air. Like even I've heard anecdotes from teachers saying it gives them, it's almost like second recess, right? Because they're not in that inside environment. The lunch times range from 10:45 to 1:45. That's kind of like the 3-hour window of volunteering. If you can just come for an hour once a month, that'd be great. Once a week would be even better. It's a great time to see your kids and also their friends, right? You're going to see all those interactions happen. You're going to learn the other kids' names pretty well. So when your kid talking about that kid, you can put a picture to a face. I'd say it's fairly rewarding and it just helps you bond more with the school community. So if you have any questions, there's a volunteer link from the Groveton PTA .org website. It's Sign Up Genius. Please sign up.
Is there a schedule now in place for which classes are going which days?
Yes.
There is.
There's an A/B schedule, yes. And if you volunteer, we will send you.
Well, I volunteer, I don't have a schedule, but I think that would be a good way to let parents know of the schedule so that they can, you know, volunteer on the day that it's outside because they'll be ready. Oh, when you sign up?
So it's not just Mondays, it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week, and then it's Tuesday, Thursday next week, and then it changes alternates.
This AV thing's a new this week. Schedule, so because they're just trying to balance how many kids are inside versus outside. And again, if we're trying to get more kids outside, we definitely need the parents to. Because one parent can't be. It's hard for one parent to watch all the kids, right? And there's supposed to be a staff person outside. Sometimes the staff person needs to come inside for a reason, but at least 2 parents in the household throughout the day. So. Please
For 2
volunteer.
hours in a row, or willing to do 1 hour?
No, you can do all 3 hours if you want.
If you want to do the whole day.
If you want to come for half an hour in the morning or an hour in the morning and then go home for lunch yourself and then come back for another hour, you can do that. Like, it's completely flexible. Please show us.
Right now, I'm sitting here. Thank you.
As much as you can help out is appreciated, even, like I said, even if it's one time a month because of your work schedule or other things, we just need some assistance, and that's all. Thank you. So, you know, the more people, the more volunteers we have, the more kids that can eat outside, and the more fun it is, so, thank you very much. And thanks to George and Tabitha for all the great work that they've been doing. Go ahead, Shannon.
I do have a question now, what's gonna happen in the winter?
We'll figure it out, right?
Got it.
I think there's some sort of threshold for temperature-wise where the county doesn't do outdoor activities.
Right, and so, recess also shuts down at that point with the cold weather or snow or anything like that, so we can get that information together, so we can start planning for, like, when would that be?
So basically, the administration will make a decision on whether school lunch is gonna be canceled for outside, right? Because of rain, snow, whatever event. And then they would let Tabitha know, and probably some of the other more, maybe Anna also, maybe me, see. They let some of the more senior people managing it know, and then we would communicate that to the volunteers.
I mean, this is sort of like, you know, flying by, this is sort of like flying the jet while building it, effectively. So, you know, I think that's an analogy. I think, you know, it's sort of a day-by-day basis, so, but hopefully if you volunteer and it's kind of questionable whether, hopefully somebody will let you know, folks know, you know, hey, we don't need you today, thank you, you know.
Because when you sign up, you have to give your, mobile device number, so we can text you.
I'm gonna wait for you on
And
the,
that's
I'm gonna wait for you here.
As the last minute changes, but I'm on my way, sorry, I'm running late.
And it happens where volunteers just can't cancel that day, we understand, so, but if you at least sign up.
Okay, anybody have any other questions for George about this or anything? So thank you very much for your hard work on this, George, I appreciate it. The last thing I wanted to talk about, just that we have some upcoming events, in the next couple of weeks. We have there's an early release day on October 29th, and for those days, we do a fundraiser with Yogurt City, which is down, I forget the street name now. Sportsman Road, thank you very much. So that's on October 29th, which is a Friday. Then on the 6th of November, we have the Fall Festival, and we're still looking for volunteers to help out with that. That's gonna be from 2 to 5 on Saturday, November 6th. And then a couple days later, on the 9th, which is Tuesday, I believe, we have another El Paso fundraiser. So another chance to go to El Paso, take out, dine in, however you wanna do it, and they give us a percentage of the fund, of the money raised for the school, for the PTA. So, is there anything else, any other, those are probably the events that we have, for the next PTA meeting. Yes, Jasmine?
Sorry, do we have, does anybody have
I might. So,
I have a question about the, qualifications for subs, what is that, what's the requirements?
I don't know off the top of my
Okay,
head. I think there's some, I think it's a 2-year degree or equivalent
Okay.
in college credits. And there's a couple of other things, obviously there's a background check and
Yeah.
things like that. That's something we can make available too, even if we wanted to post an announcement on the PTA site to say, hey, if you know anybody, we can certainly use you, even if it's somebody who's not available all the time. We try to reach out a lot to college students who may have like, you know, they only have one day off from class, but that one day a week, we could sort of move somebody, so. For substitute teaching? It depends. Typically it is all day, but we do also have, staff sometimes who they have an appointment in the morning, they'll be out half a day in the morning or half a day in the afternoon, something like that. So it really depends on the assignment. Typically it's a full day.
And is it the kind of thing where you can say like, what high school
So, yeah, so you can accept only jobs at
Okay.
Groveton, and typically what we do for our, we do have some parents who substitute teachers, we, have their phone numbers at the office, so we typically call them and say, hey, you know, this job is coming open, or we have this teacher who's gonna be out for a couple days, or we will get. So we have sort of a list also of people who call for, to whenever we have, so, yeah.
I'm a recruiter for a government contractor, so
Okay.
I can blast that.
No,
There's a lot of people
they have to apply officially through Fairfax County, but once
Okay.
that, you know, goes through, that does take some time.
Okay.
But once they're in an official, they can certainly, just get in touch with us and say, yeah, I'm really just interested in coming to Groveton to study. And they can get directly in touch with us. But I can get that information to you so we can get it on the
Yeah,
website.
you can get it, I can get it to you, Vanessa, no problem. Thank you for volunteering to do that, that's great.
I appreciate that, that's awesome.
So, I think the next thing we're gonna talk about is Lakeland's gonna do the presentation on testing. So everybody, apparently there's a lot of tests coming up. I know Shane, my son took one today. So Mr. Lakeland's gonna give us a rundown of all of those. So thank you, Mr. Lakeland.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm happy to do that. I'll start now. So the first bit of information I want to share, there is a public-facing site for Fairfax County where you can look grade level by grade level to see what tests your student is taking. It has a nice chart that tells you
Esta parte es importante porque van a hablar sobre los exámenes que se van a desarrollar durante este año en la escuela. Me tengo que ir allá para grabar. Pero si ocupan preguntas, aquí estoy, ¿ok?
Whether that's one time they take this at the beginning of the year, or they take this, beginning, middle, end of the year, and what that looks like. And then they'll give you also, is this a division requirement, so a Fairfax County Public Schools requirement, a state testing requirement, or whatever that is. So that is helpful if you want some more detailed information based on whatever grade levels your students are in. I'm going to give sort of a general rundown of everything that's happening right now and that is upcoming for the rest of the year.
Your guys are very proactive, thank you.
So a couple of these are in progress already, so you probably have heard about these. You may have seen letters come home from these. We've also been putting these in the community newsletter that Ms. Casablanca sends out once a week as they're upcoming and as they're updated. So there's an iReady assessment for reading and for math. The purpose of that, as you can see up there, that's a universal screening test. So all kids take that test. It gives us an idea of where they might have areas of need, so that we can target their instruction, we can target intervention to what those needs might be. Right? Virginia growth assessments, those were new this year. That was a mandate that came from VDOE to test 3rd through 6th graders. Those tests looked similar to what they'll see for the standards of learning assessments at the end of the year this year. That was to get some updated information, again, based on those standards of what they were taught last year, where they might be, what their areas of need might be, and to give us some information about what gaps they may have or what learning loss may need to be addressed. VKRP, Virginia Kindergarten Readiness Program. This one is for pre-K and for kindergarten. There's a literacy component, there's a mathematics component, and there's a behavior sort of reading skill component to this as well. The nice thing about this kindergarten assessment is that the students all do it one-on-one. All of this is interview style with the teacher, so they get a lot of really good detailed information about what the kids know. The trade-off with that is obviously if there are 20 or 25 students, that takes a really long time. That takes a really long time to do one-on-one interviews and assessments with kids like that, but it is really good information for the kindergarten teachers. You'll see that kindergarten is typically separate from the rest of the grade levels in terms of what assessments they take. So that's an important note. And I can answer questions about any of these as we go. I have a couple of slides, so I'm happy to pause here and answer questions just about these, and then move on to the next set if you want.
My question would be, is there a set date for iReady?
So there's not. There's a window for iReady. This spring, or this, fall window goes until it's the end of October, maybe the beginning of November. And then the winter window will pick up in January, and then the spring window will start in April, I believe. So there's a break in each. They do that assessment 3 times throughout the year.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. The next set here, the developmental reading assessment and developmental spelling assessment, you may have heard the kids talking about. These are a little easier because these look like just spelling tests, or look like the DRA reading assessment looks like just reading a book with the teacher. And there's some structure around what they look for, how they score the assessment. They ask them several questions to respond to, which again gives a lot of really good information to determine areas of need for reading. And then the same thing for spelling, which gives us some information obviously about their spelling, but also about just their writing in general as well. The SEL screener was just opened up this week to 3rd through 6th grade. Is questions asking about the social emotional competencies of students, and again is going to be used for that purpose of continued instruction and social emotional learning throughout the year. This one will expand to include kindergarten and 2nd grade in the winter window. The kindergarten through 2nd grade assessment is a teacher questionnaire that they fill out, not something that the students respond to. So it's a little bit different in structure. The 3rd through 6th grade one are questions that the kids will respond to. The nice thing about that assessment is it's online. It also has audio that's available to read the questions to the students, so that makes it a little bit easier for everyone to access as they go. I'll stop here again. Are there any questions about any of those assessments?
What's the goal of the 3rd assessment? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the goal, what are we assessing?
For which one? I'm sorry.
The 3rd one, the SEL screener.
Sure. So we're assessing for social emotional learning. So it's not, there's no pass
Right.
score that we're looking for. We're looking for areas of need. There's different competencies that they look at. So if we see as a school or as a grade level, this competency seems to be lower than the others, we have lessons and materials and things that teachers can use to sort of work towards that in their classroom, work on that specific thing in their classroom.
So this SEL, is it student-based, or is it the general average expectations or needs assessed and the classes are arranged accordingly? Or do you specifically look for kids' needs and then try to tailor the training or the educational material?
Right, so we have the option to do both. So we have the option to do, like I said, that big picture where we might look at what a whole grade level needs or what a classroom needs. We also have the ability to look at just an individual student to say this individual student may have a lot of needs and they may need something different from what the class is getting or something additional that we can add on. And our team here, our counselors, our school psychologists, our school social worker, they have resources to do additional groups that may pull kids out of the classroom to work on additional skills who have a higher level of need. They also have the ability to do some things one-on-one with kids who have sort of the highest level of need that you might see, and that is how we can individualize more than just
And the parents are aware or informed of this?
Yeah, so before they would do a small group or anything like that, they would have a conversation with the parents and whether or not the parents want that and what they'd like to see.
What would an example of a social emotional competency be?
So relationship skills is one, and that obviously looks very different in 1st grade than it does in 6th grade. So these are sort of tailored up and down.
Like shares well with others, kind of? Like
so
kindness?
Yeah, so that would be part of it, I think. Relationship skills, so like I said, it's a competency, but it's a broad sort of category of all those different behaviors. So like sharing would be one of those that fits in there. I'm trying to think of some of the questions that they actually ask that relate to that, but.
Because I understand reading, I understand spelling.
Sure.
But I'm trying to understand how to gauge social emotional competency.
Sure, so I can share some more information on that. That's a little more detailed. If that's one we have questions about, we could do another presentation at a different meeting about just social emotional learning and things. Have some of the team that could talk about it more in detail than I can come out. And but there are, like I said, so different competencies which relate to the behaviors that the students have, right, and are exhibiting.
But the student themselves would be answering it, so it wouldn't necessarily be the teacher that's watching the behavior, it would be the student themselves answering it for themselves.
So in 3rd through 6th grade, that's correct, it's self-recording. In kindergarten through 2nd grade, it's teacher recording.
And so for wellness and relationships, I guess you said that you might do another presentation, how does that work? And is this information going to be published for parents to be able to see as well? Can we get a look at the questions? 'Cause I guess I'm trying to understand if it's something that's being set up so, I don't know, to see an alert in some kids, or set up some type of emotional groups for certain kids that range in different types of behaviors that might be, I don't know, alerting. I'm not sure.
Sure, so we do have the ability to do that. The questions are on the FCPS website, so the questions are able to be previewed by parents. They're on the public facing website. Are there any more questions just about these couple? And then we can go on to the next one. The cognitive abilities test, that's one of the tests that we use typically for advanced academic screening. So this year that test is starting next week, actually. This is really timely, with 2nd and 3rd grade. Typically it's only done with 2nd grade, but because we didn't have it last year, because of the pandemic, it's being offered to all 3rd graders as well. So that will be for 2nd and 3rd grade. The Naglieri Nonverbal Abilities Test is similar. That's one we also use screening for advanced academics. That one's given in 1st grade. That one, the benefit of that test is that it is all pictures. It's a nonverbal test. And then we just did a presentation tonight about the signs of suicide assessment, which is going to be happening in 6th grade at the beginning of November. We sent some letters home as well, some opt-out forms if parents are interested in opting students out. If you do want more information about that, you can contact us and I can get you in touch with a member of the clinical team to go more in depth about what that entails, what that looks like, and to better inform your decision about whether to have them participate or not. Are there any questions about any of those three?
I mean, my kids are still in 2nd grade, but the signs of suicide, that seems like a very interesting approach to this, and it's critical, of course, but how is it administered, or how is it evaluated? Is it the psychologists do that, or what is the...
Yeah, so there's a video and a presentation that a member of our wellness team, which is our 2 counselors, our psychologist and our social worker, will give to the 6th grade classes. So the video talks to students about what signs they might notice in themselves or in their peers. So this is really and then they fill out a short questionnaire about any behaviors that they have either seen in peers or done themselves, or any feelings they've had in the recent past that sort of align with those signs. And then those are triaged by members of that wellness team for what level of follow-up may be necessary. So they look at all the questionnaires that they collect from the students, and then they assign levels based on their responses for them to then follow up. So there's an option for them to, based on their responses, someone might follow up with them from the team, and obviously at a different level of urgency, depending on what they answer. There's also an option on there if they would like to, no matter what their answers to the questions are, if they would like to talk with someone, they can indicate that and someone will follow up with them. Or if they're concerned about a peer, they can share that concern as well. Okay. Through this assessment, sure. Are there any questions about either or any of the others? And then these are coming later on down the line. The Wida access test is for English learners. This starts typically in January and goes through March. This is to assess students' level of English acquisition. So this is a federally required assessment that we do every year. We do it for a pretty significant portion of the students at Groveton, so that January timeframe gets pretty busy for us. The Horizon assessment, this is an assessment that again is standards based. That one is given in February this year, which is a couple of months before the SOLs also happen. So that gives us some information about where the kids are with what they've learned so far, what they may need to review, and teachers will have time to address some of those things before they get to SOLs at the end of the year. And then SOLs, obviously 3rd through 6th grade, will begin towards the end of April this year. I think they're maybe right after spring break is when that window opens up, through the end of May, which is very nearly the end of the school year. That's a reading test for each grade level, a math test, and in 5th grade includes a science test. For all of the kids in that grade level, there'll be a lot more information obviously coming out about that when that happens.
So if your child would have taken something last year that like it was virtual, and so that's just over now? Like they won't go back and reassess? So like if I had a 5th grader last year who, because they were virtual, we decided not to do the testing, it's over, right? Like they're sort of going back.
They won't go back to grade level. They will take the assessment that aligns with whatever grade level they're in this year. The only time that won't happen is if they're in either 5th grade or 6th grade advanced math, where they're taking a grade level ahead assessment, which you would already know, and you'll get more information about in the springtime. And then the last one on this page, the Iowa Algebra Aptitude Test. This is specifically for kids in our 6th grade advanced math classes. This is a test that they use to qualify students to skip ahead to algebra in 7th grade if they have that potential and want to take that option. So that's given to a very small group of students, but that happens in January. If your student is in either one of those 6th grade advanced math classes, they'll get some more information about that. Probably at the beginning of January, because it comes right about the middle of January. Are there any more questions about any of those assessments?
That's a lot of testing.
It's a lot of tests.
This is a lot of testing.
So this Horizon is SOLs, they're for all students, goes through.
3rd grade through 6th grade.
Oh, 3rd to 6th grade, okay. I was thinking that the 3 and 6 February.
Oh, sorry.
Between
no,
3 and 6 February.
3rd grade through 6th grade.
Okay.
So that's the end of my list. Which is great. It takes a significant amount of time for the staff also to coordinate these. So I just think something important for everyone to know. And there's some advocacy happening right now just based on the amount of time that we're spending on making all of this happen right now, because everything is, as you've probably seen and heard from your students, is all kind of stacked on top of each other. So they're taking multiple tests, it seems like right now, and that is true. That's what it's like for us too.
You're expecting this many tests next year? Is this
So the only one I see that may go away is the Virginia Growth Assessment, which was new this year, specifically to address the fact that not many kids took SOLs at the end of last year in 3rd through 6th grade, because it was we had a lot of students still virtual. It was optional for them to come in or not if they didn't want to. So where our typical rate of testing is probably 98 or 99%. Last year was right around like 50% or so. So I think that was to get some updated information, to make sure we have some data and some information on all the students that we have. That's the only one I really see going away completely for next year.
And all elementary schools take all these tests? It's not like Groveton in a special category where we get.
No. So, and on that that website, that public-facing website for FCPS, it goes through all where those are mandated from. So you'll see all of these are either federal, state, or FCPS mandated assessments. So none of these are things that Groveton has decided just that we're going to participate in. None of these are things that we are having to do for any special reason. So every elementary school is going through the same sort of cycle of testing right now.
Do you provide any guidance to parents how to prepare the kids for these tests, or is there any recommendations?
Sure. So any of the tests that are up here will have a specific letter that will come home that will give more information. Some of them can be prepared, things like SOLs and things that are based on the work that they're doing in class, and the standards of learning every day. There are some things like the cognitive abilities tests that really, there's no prep for those. They do some practice questions, to prepare them before they start. But there's really no test preparation for those other than things like getting a good night's sleep and making sure they eat breakfast in the morning and making sure, they come prepared on the days that it's offered. So some have some very specific things that they can be studying for and working towards, and some, the SEL screener, there's really not, any studying to be done to evaluate that, so.
For instance, you just mentioned that they took tests this morning or today.
Yeah.
And I was not aware of that there was a test, and my son didn't even tell me that he'd gone through a test.
Okay.
So, we didn't get a warning of like they're gonna have a test today. So,
So, and he may not have, depending on what the test was. They don't all happen on the same day for every class or for every student if they're in kindergarten, if it's one-on-one. I'm not sure, is he in kindergarten?
he's in second grade.
Second grade?
He probably, he's in the same class as my son, so.
Oh, okay, so that's what you're asking. So you can also always reach out to the teachers if you have, questions about testing. I'm not sure what tests they took, exactly today, but the teacher can always provide you with, information about what exact days and times of testing are happening. Because what they typically give us is windows, and then the teachers are able to select days within the windows to do that.
Yeah, I got a letter saying that this between October 12th and 22nd, they're going to have tests, but it wasn't any specific date.
Are their results gonna be on their student profile on is it SIS or I can't remember what we log into to see their.
This Schoology.
Yes, are there gonna be information, is that gonna be on there?
So for some of the assessments, yes. If there are any that are not up there that you would like to see, and you want to get in touch with me or with your child's teacher, we can certainly let you know. Either there are results we can send home. Some of the tests don't have results that get sent home. So the Virginia Growth Assessment don't have paired results because there's not a pass-fail for that assessment.
Is there a pass-fail for that? I remember the iReady, my son took it last year virtually, and I remember I sat next to him, but I was not allowed to help him, I just had to watch him.
And there's no pass-fail for that either, but there is information about how does he score. That was difficult last year because so many kids did take it at home.
Yeah.
That sometimes we weren't sure, this seems, were they really doing this well? Were they really struggling this much? We're just not sure.
I just remember Mrs. Hendricks saying, I just kept rereading the question because I was like, I can't help you, read the question.
Yeah. So that's one where when they take it, it's not really something that they're preparing for and studying for. It's really just to see what their present performance is. So we know what they need to work on next. And again, that can be at a class level, so a teacher will use that to guide their lessons. It can also be on an individual level if we say, hey, this student is not performing at the level we think they should be at the beginning of first grade, the beginning of second grade, whatever it is. What additional assistance can we give them that's targeted? Sure.
I should probably know this, but how do we access Schoology for our kids?
Sure. So over the summer and when we got back, we had a presentation. There's a sign up that you need to do. If you leave me your name and information, I can have Ms. Bergeron, who's our technology specialist here, get in touch with you to send you the directions and kind of walk you through the process of getting signed up for an account and making sure it works and it's active and all of that. I think she has a page of directions, which we can probably post on the PTA website as well. Yeah, happy to do that.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Latham? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Latham, very much. Fortunately, while there was a lot of information about tests, there's no test on what we just learned. So, if anybody has any other questions for myself, any other, Anna, you have one?
Yes. I have two things.
Okay.
One, there's a possibility of doing a fundraiser with a local photographer. He's willing to, for the advertising that we would provide and the possible new customers, he's willing to provide a half back to the PTA if we promote his services. Is anybody interested in doing that? Like if it's a $150 package, he would donate back to the PTA $75 of that.
Assuming it's a family photographer?
Yeah, it's a family photography. He's actually my daughter takes violin lessons from his wife.
Okay.
And he's a cello player. He gives cello lessons, but he's also a photographer. So, are we interested in doing that with him or not? Does it sound like something we want to do?
I think it would be a good Christmas card for the season or coming.
Yeah.
It could be good.
That's
I know tomorrow's picture day, but still.
Are we doing like a mini session? Like,
Yes.
I've had it before where it's like mini sessions, so each family has like 15 minutes.
So he said you have to contact him directly because his hours are not,
Okay.
you know.
So it wouldn't be like a Saturday where you can sign up for time slots? It wouldn't be like that?
No, it would be
Okay.
you contacting him meeting you somewhere, having the pictures taken, and then he would note that you're from Groveton PTA and put money aside. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Is that a yes? All right, new fundraiser. And the second thing, Ms. Hanson wanted to present tonight, but she had to leave because she's been here for 12 hours. The staff workroom has a paper cutter. I know this sounds really strange, but anyway, the paper cutter can only cut maybe, I don't know, I think I tried to do 11 sheets and it got stuck. So it says it'll do through 15, but it's one of those that promises one thing and doesn't do it. Anyway, she remembers that there is a nicer model that can do up to 22 sheets, which would be like a full classroom set, right? Like in one slice to be done. But it costs about $200. Would we be willing to pay, as a PTA, would we be willing to allow that purchase and pay for that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the paper cutter that thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the big arm slicer thing that you feel like you're
yes,
gonna cut
I
your wrist
remember
off.
those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I think that's a valid expense, so
Two for
yeah,
two.
we can.
I like that.
We under capital improvements, we have $1,000 budgeted, so.
Excellent.
It's a.
Thank you very much on behalf of
Thank
this
you.
whole staff.
Thank you, and Jasmine had
I
something
just
she
want
wanted
to make a question, so maybe everybody can help us with that. Just coming to my notice, and, because I live in the Beacon Hill Apartments, and I know other parents have kids that take the bus too. I know we're having some kind of issues that the patrols cannot control the whole kids, and the buses is still running, and the kids is running through the bus, and the parents is making like a circle around the bus to try to put the kids in the bus. If you have any idea, or if that situation is happening in other areas and the bus, the bus stops, that you can give us any idea. Personally, I will try to contact the person, maybe Mr. Levin, who can we talk about it, that coordinate the patrols? To give them a little more idea, because I know they always used to do it, but last year there was no school, so many of them maybe need a little more training, just to organize the kids before they arrive to the buses.
So
Especially having the little ones in the front and like that.
Yeah,
So
Ms.
maybe we
Brownhead.
can, go to that subject and try to have that, for the next meeting, or any idea that you can give us to organize better the kids when they, are going to take the buses,
Are they-
especially in the mornings.
Is it, oh, it's when they're loading onto the bus, not when they're offloading after school?
Yeah, no, in the mornings, yeah, when they're loading the bus, because, there's a lot of kids around waiting for the buses, and then, especially in my area, it's about 4 buses coming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just running to the bus, and the driver is always like, so it's kind of dangerous, and everybody's just crowd.
About how many kids?
It's about 60 at each bus.
There's 4 buses, and all of them come empty and needed food.
Yes.
So I need to figure out
Could you
maybe-
have them set up in
They're-
4 sections?
They are in different places, aren't they?
Yes, different
Oh.
places, but
Yeah.
close by,
Yeah,
but
they
still only
They're
my
within
son
sight
bus,
of each
for example, is like a 60 plus kids.
Yeah.
And I'm being trying to help the patrols to organize, kindergarten, first grader, second grader first,
Yeah, that's
so
what
the
I
little
was-
one go first. That kind
Yeah.
of, as used to be.
Yeah.
But of course, they need more training, and maybe the parents can help too. Maybe we can send a little notice for the parents that they can remember that. It's safety.
Yeah.
It's safety first. So I understand the parents want to try to keep their kids first, go to the bus. So maybe we just can send a
And
little
you also
notice.
have Metro coming through at the same time.
Where exactly is it?
Tower
At Beacon?
Drive.
Tower Drive at Memorial?
Tower
No,
Drive and,
Between
yeah,
Montclair and Southgate.
thank you.
Yeah, Tower Drive is okay, and I know we have another apartment complex that I don't know what's happening the same situation, so. Any idea?
They meet in the parking lot, and it's not a cut-through street, it's a parking lot, there's no metro bus going to there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have the same issues.
Okay, yeah, but, okay, at least for my area,
Yes.
I can try to help, but it's like 4 buses only in that complex, so maybe something that we have to send a little notice for the parents. Reminding that and coordinate a little bit of the patrols. Any ideas with that? Am I right?
Yeah, the grades and the parents, I think that would be your best bet.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say, separate them by grade and then have each bus, have them load them on.
Well, and I just want everybody to keep in mind, the patrols that she's talking about are just 6th grade students.
Yes, 100%.
But I just wanna share, they're limited in the
Yeah,
40
I know,
hours that they
parents
have.
themselves.
Yeah.
So,
The other-
parents, absolutely.
The other
Yeah,
suggestion
sure.
I might have is, if you're concerned about where the bus actually stops to pick up the kids, that's transportation, right?
Yes.
I mean,
The bus is okay,
Yeah.
the drivers is
Yeah.
okay, it's just actually
The
she's
kids
trying.
pushing
that
I'm just saying
everybody's
if it, so sometimes a bus might try to pick up on a corner where there's hedges, and like just for example, and they don't think, oh, if a kid's gonna run, they're gonna run into a street because they can't run into a yard, for example. Sometimes when you bring to the attention of transportation, could we move it down over to this spot because there might be more space for the people to gather, not in the road.
Yeah.
So my point is, sometimes you just, and transportation doesn't always think that way because they don't know.
They just see a map, a
Oh,
graphical
there's,
map.
there's bushes here and the kids can't go this direction, they have to go into the street, right? So sometimes just looking at the space and just seeing, can we just move down like to this spot, just down 2 cars or you know, just trying to think of what's the safest area to allow the kids to congregate. It happened to us, they happened to pick a corner that had like literally, there was a ditch, there were shrubs, and literally all that you were gonna ask for was kids falling into the road or into a ditch. And it was, you just had to tell them, hey, this isn't a good choice. Can you guys just go down like a driveway or 2? And they did it. But they just don't know those kind of details, so it might be, and usually that's like a coordination, like I call transportation all the time, but that might be something we might need to work together because that's a little bit, I mean, it's intimidating for me to call transportation, but.
By sure send any notice to the parents as a reminder that we have to organize the kids when the bus arrives. And at least at Beacon Hill, I don't think that is the situation because I see all the locations and it's not crowded, it's not crowd, it's just actually the parking lot, Tower Drive. And the problem is that everybody's trying to put their kids at first.
Yeah.
So everybody's just
It's a
jumping,
parent
there's no
issue.
letting
It's
them
a
go.
Here, go to school, bye.
And the biggest kids go first, and then the little ones is over there, and that kind of thing is what's happening. So I
Got
think it's just to organize the kids before the bus arrives, so everybody's ready, just ready. I think it's a reminder to the parents, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Can the kids get to the place on time for you guys to organize them? By the time the bus gets there, they are already in line.
As soon as they see the bus, everybody's just coming from everywhere.
So it's like you have to get them all, like, at least let them be there like 5 minutes earlier, where you guys, the parents can get them all lined up, so when the bus gets there, no one is rushing their kids onto the bus.
And we have enough space over there to have the kids organized, maybe in the sidewalk or like that, waiting for the bus, so everybody can make the line, like they do in the school.
It's not at the park area next to the dog park, or is it on the other side?
It's on the other side.
Yeah,
On the other side.
and the Tower Drive is 2 stops.
Yeah.
For the GT.
Oh, and that's the
6
other
and
thing, is that
GT3.
Groveton's not the only buses going through, there are other buses for other schools going
Yeah.
through the same
Oh.
area. And when you're told it's at this location, it's not really that location, it's,
Down
you
the
know,
street.
a quarter mile that way.
I didn't know that there was other school buses going through there. Like, obviously, we've got Sandburg and West Potomac.
Yeah, but no, but it's at the same time of day, it's not elementary school for, special needs and that kind of
Your
thing.
girls stay
Understood.
at GT3?
Huh?
Your girls stay at GT3 and that
Yeah.
one? Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Same issue,
yeah,
I know the issue well.
So you can see, because I can see that GT3 having the same, that having the GT6, and I can see that GT2 and
7 and 4 have the same issue.
yeah. And it's just organize the kids before the bus arrives, Last used to be before, I
There are
remember.
plenty of parents standing there, they just don't know what to do.
Parents-
Yeah.
They need to be informed.
Would it be helpful to have like a cone or some other physical marker for the kids to align?
Who would you give that to?
Or just leave it out there?
The bus driver, seriously? No, speaking of Parkinson's, I'm not gonna allow that.
The cone?
No.
And for that, at least from my point of view, I'm gonna send something to the office, that the administration, maybe they can organize something better. They have 4 or 5 buses coming every morning. I think they're pretty happy to organize this, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I can do that too, at least for Beacon Hill, but if we have again that issue in another buses, it's good to know, so we can send that to everyone. To organize better. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine. Hopefully we can help solve that. Does anybody else have anything? We ran a little over, but hopefully it was informative, and thank you all for coming, and hopefully we see you all next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your hard work.
No.